We're going to talk about responsibility, leadership, and being the solution to the Jaguars' problems here today on Locked On Jaguars.
You are Locked On Jaguars, your daily Jacksonville Jaguars podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, what's up? I'm Tony Wiggins, and welcome to Locked On Jaguars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the number one sports podcast network. And we love the everydayers that join us, and we appreciate you making us your first listen here on Locked On Jaguars. Shout out to the new people that are joining us here today. Hopefully you become an everydayer also, so you don't miss an episode of the show, just like those everydayers that we are so proud of here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Today's show, speaking of episodes, right, this one is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. All right, we're going to tell you what we're going to hit today. First and foremost, happy Veterans Day to everyone who served, including myself. Appreciate it. It's an honor and a privilege to call myself an honorably discharged veteran of the United States Air Force. Is one of the things that I am most proud of. So it was an honor and a pleasure for me. I ought to be saying thank y'all for allowing me to be a veteran and serve in the United States military. That's just the way that I honestly feel. To all of my friends everywhere on the First Coast and around the world. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about, if not the leaders, then who? At the end of the show, pay should align with play. Doesn't work like that all the time, but you would hope ideally that that's what it lines up with. But we're going to start off talking about the difference between problems, identifying problems, and seeking out solutions. Lots of talk about who's responsible for the Jaguars not playing well and not playing up to what we believe their potential is. And rightfully so. I know those conversations are going on in the building. I do know that it's an attitude that they're all in this together. There is no finger pointing from what I understand. Everyone is still aligned in the building, and they're just trying to figure out. But figuring it out is going to require some hard truths and some hard self-evaluation. And that's what I try to do here today. I even did a podcast after the game, as well as the one I did on Monday, where I said, if you, and this comes from the fact that we love to point to one thing as the problem. Whatever we believe is the main thing, that's what we always like to illuminate. Whatever we don't believe is the main thing, when someone else says that to them is the main thing, then everyone gets defensive and starts defending it. Yesterday, I said nothing was defensible because everything was responsible. And that is a way to tell everybody, look, man, we hear it. We feel your pain. But sometimes in trying to assign just one blame or one person or one group for a problem, you end up having too many conversations about Press Taylor. The head coach the other day said, Liam Cohen said, somebody asked him about the way Camp was calling the defensive coordinator, Anthony Campanile, that if he'd done something different. And Liam Cohen said, no, I was on the headset. I heard everything. Basically like saying, if I wanted to do something about it, or if I didn't like it, I would have said something. And this is something that I tried to tell people for years when it came to everyone talking about Press Taylor. I'm like, Doug is standing right over there with a headset, right? It probably worked on all of this stuff and agreed that was the game plan. But we like to take the low-hanging fruit because that was the name that was put on the tip of your tongue for you to blame when it was the whole thing. And then they fired Doug. I said, well, they should have fired Trent too. And now, then they finally did it. And now hopefully everyone understands, but they won't, that it's not just one thing. And people were in the draft were saying, just draft Jackson Powers Johnson. Okay, you now realize that it's more than one center. That's the problem. And I know each and every one is sitting here and they're trying to just get to the bottom of it because they're so emotional. But what I like to do is say this. You can't, especially on a day like this when you think about leadership, and this is something that I did learn in the military, you can't duck and hide from the fact that there's a hierarchy in sports. Quarterbacks get all of the credit, right? The people that get all of the credit are usually the people that make the most money. Some of that blame has to go to the people that makes the most money. This reminds me of a scenario when I was a single parent and I was working. My oldest son was always my babysitter. He's 2 years older than his brother. And he got sick and tired of being the one that was responsible for watching his brother and his sister until I came home from the barbershop or the radio station, whichever one I was doing. Sometimes it was both. And then my youngest son simultaneously said, Dad, one day he pulled me aside and said, can I talk to you? I said, what's up? He said, I'm tired of him telling me what to do. I can handle my own business. I said, all right, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put you in charge. And I told the oldest boy, I said, you don't have to watch out for him anymore. He's going to watch out for you. That lasted a day until both of them got sick of those responsibilities. And they came to me independently. It was like, nah, I'd just rather be who I'm supposed to be, Dad. If I'm number two, if oldest, I'll listen to him. I don't want the responsibility. And then the oldest one said, I'd rather just go ahead and just be the boss instead of just listening to him because he don't know what he's doing. So in a roundabout way, everyone had to accept their role in leadership. And I say that to say this. When it comes to Trevor Lawrence and Josh Hines Allen, I don't know how you defend the fact that while things may not be their fault, they are not part of the solution. You look to your leaders for answers. You look to those guys that earn all of that money. They earn that money because they do special things, apparently, and they're supposed to be the dudes you lead with. How many times did I tell you that the one thing that I wanted to see the Jaguars do was increase the talent level of those 5 or 6 guys that will lead this team out of that tunnel when you match them up with the best 5 or 6 guys from another team? That's a good start because those will be the dudes that play above the X's and O's, beyond the X's and O's, that you can get on their back, and in tough times, they can do things that other people can't do. That's why they're paid so much. That's why you use higher priority resources to go and get those guys. So it's not about assessing blame for who loses what game. It is about saying, can I turn to you and say, get me home? Do something. And you can't. You can't do it with those two dudes. They have to start rethinking and reorganizing their mindset. And I think fans do too, because fans are quick, and some people in the media are very, very quick to get real defensive when you say, well, where's 41? And then they get real defensive when you say 16 didn't play bad, but we expect more. We expect him to do these other things. You hear Liam Cohen talk about Davis Mills, and he talks about perfect ball placement on those drives in the fourth quarter. He says that stuff because that's what he believes. Like the Jaguars were where they were supposed to be, but there was perfect ball placement. He talked about a backup quarterback making plays above the X's and O's and throwing the ball exactly where it needed to be for a dude to come down with the catch. These are the things that we try to talk about with Trevor Lawrence, and then all people say is, well, he put it in the area, you got to catch it. It's the little things. The little things, they win a lot of close games and they lose a lot of close games. It's the little, small, tiny details. It's not the drop passes that people are talking about. Not me, anyway. It's not the fact that sometimes he's running for his life. We know all of that stuff exists. But when it doesn't, that's when we want him to be a little bit supernatural, and I don't think he can do it consistently. And we're talking about consistently. We're not talking about one time here or there. We're not talking about that. We're talking about what a quarterback is supposed to do and supposed to be when you look at the 4 or 5 top guys. And I don't want to hear that after those 4 or 5 top guys that there's 10 other guys that they're up and down too. They're not up and down as much as Trevor Lawrence. Dak Prescott is up way more than he's down, whether Dallas wins or loses. All right. So I think pay at some point should align with play. You can disagree all you want to, but it ain't going to change my mind. And I'll tell you exactly why I feel that way more in just a second here on Locked On Jaguars. Today's show is sponsored and brought to you by Rippling. If you're a business owner, here's the truth. SaaS promised to make work easier, but now the average company is buried in hundreds of apps that slow down your teams and simply don't work together. That's not SaaS. That's sad. software as a disservice. That's why you need Rippling. Rippling is the unified platform for global HR, payroll, IT, and finance all in one place. They've helped millions of businesses replace a mass of disconnected tools with only systems designed to give uh, leaders clarity, speed, and control. And right now, you can get 6 months free when you go to rippling.com/lockedonnfl. By unifying your employees, teams, and departments in one system, Rippling removes the bottlenecks, busy work, and silos your software created. Learn more at rippling.com/lockedonnfl. That's rippling.com/lockedonnfl for 6 months free. Terms and conditions apply. Today's show is also sponsored and brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game and want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game very, very exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving all new customers $300 in bonus bets when you first bet $5. When your first $5 bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, we're moving along here on segment 2 of Locked On Jaguars, where it's your team every day. We thank you for making us your first listen. Talking about pay should align with play. Look, you get contracts because of where you are at a certain period and a certain point. It's not Trevor Lawrence's fault that he was next up in line. And at that time, I agreed with them extending Trevor Lawrence. The bottom line, you can't go back and have 2020 vision and forget. These podcasts exist for a reason, and they stay for the eternity of the show. So people can just go right back to a couple of years ago when they re-signed Trevor Lawrence. And I said, good move. Because you either do it or you don't. And if you would have taken a chance and he outplayed the contract, like for instance, I'll give you an example. Yannick Ngakoue outplayed his contract after the team tried to give him a low ball deal early. He didn't budge. They didn't budge. He ended up getting traded away. He probably lost about $4 or $5 million when you look at the grand total, but he ended up getting his money from a whole bunch of different teams and all pieced together. The thing is the Jaguars missed an opportunity there because they at least tried to sign him early to a deal that would have probably saved him a couple of dollars, but I don't blame him. He had the best season of his career, and then he wanted to get paid for it. That's what they promised him. So the thing is if you wait to pay Trevor Lawrence, but then you still realize you have to pay Trevor Lawrence because starting quarterbacks are hard to get that are good players, and Trevor's a good, solid football player. That's hard to come by, especially when they're 25, 26 years old. They were going to pay him anyway, but they were going to end up paying him more money the following year. So I don't have a problem with them, even though it was Trent Baalke. I don't have a problem with it because I think anybody would have done that at that time. There's some fans now saying, no, I wouldn't have done it. Josh Allen got paid after having 17 sacks. I would have done that too. However, I am on record. People been slick dissing for a while now. Every time Josh Allen plays well, I know who you are, media person that goes, anybody want to trade Josh? Where's all that trade Josh talk? And that's the response that I expect from people that think short-sighted. They always want to be right. They always want to be correct. They want to be first instead of looking at the big picture. Now we're back again. Because when I remind you that when Josh Allen was about to get signed, the thing that I said was I go all in on Danielle Hunter because the Vikings didn't put a tag on him. I would trade Josh Allen for a second-round pick and sign Danielle Hunter to whatever money I was going to give Josh Allen. So that probably would have worked out, right? Yeah, it would have worked out. He's a better player, all right? You saw that firsthand just the other day. But no, I got crushed for it. But I said I can understand the reason why I said that they should trade Josh, and I have been saying it forever. And this is before they gave him the deal. Is because in order to get something, you have to give up something. There's no need or no reason that you have Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen and his team, and people are still screaming for a pass rush. Brian Burns was available a couple of years ago, and people wanted to go get Brian Burns. So let me tell you how this will work. If you go get Brian Burns, I understand that Brian Burns is a good player. He's probably better than both of those dudes, right? Or at least close to it. He's a little bit different from Trayvon. They do some different things. He's a better pass rusher, pure pass rusher than them both. You go get Brian Burns, what are you going to do with the other two dudes? And that's the point that I keep trying to make. Everybody can't get paid. This ain't college where you can pay NIL to all of these dudes and rotate them. It doesn't work like that. The salary cap is what it is for a reason. And you cannot use the type of resources that's required to obtain guys like that when you love the dudes that you have. The dudes that you have to play better. And they have to earn that money. And I'm sorry, Josh Allen just hasn't done that for me. You can talk all day about pressures and all of that stuff. Liam even mentioned it yesterday, and I think he was referencing Trayvon's play. When you get the quarterback in danger, you allow him to throw the ball away, they live to see another day. If Trayvon holds on to Davis Mills, and he may have had an issue trying to get used to his hand or whatever, but whatever that is, that's like a 15-yard loss, bro. And that's different than him getting a do-over because he was able to get away and throw the ball out of bounds. So I keep telling people, while coaches love pressure, because without pressure, you don't get sacks. So you have to get the pressure first. Coaches would love for those pressures to turn into sacks more than they love for those pressures to turn into the ball just being thrown away. It's common sense. All you got to do is listen to the press conference and you hear the coach say that kind of stuff. Just like you hear him say stuff about ball placement from another quarterback. What do you think he thinks about ball placement with his own quarterback? See, when you get paid a lot of money, that means that you're not just doing one of 53 pieces, because you don't make 1/53 of the money. You make way more money than 1/53 of this roster. Okay. So the heavy lifting is on your shoulders as a great player. If you don't want that responsibility or you don't like it, give the money back. But you ain't going to do that. So the thing is, yeah, when things don't go well, we can be adults and talk about everything across the board that's going poorly, or we can and we can understand bad offensive line, running for his life, need a left tackle, wide receivers dropping the ball, all of that. Those are not the plays I'm talking about. Those aren't the ones that I'm talking about. Even the Derek Stingley interception, good play, great play. Most corners can't make it. He can. You got to put the ball out in front of the wide receiver and put it in a position where that dude can't undercut it. It's a 7-yard crossing route. And your dude had an advantage. There's a way that you can throw that ball that it won't get picked off. And I know it feels like you're cherry picking and you're point. I'm not saying that those guys were the reason that the Jaguars lost. I'm saying that they were not a part of the solution, and they weren't the reason why the Jaguars won, despite the fact that all of that other stuff was going on. You want to tell me that Josh Allen was doubled? And I watched the game. I saw some plays where he wasn't doubled, and Ariante Ursary, a rookie out of Minnesota, had him blocked. Period. I'm sitting here watching people that have played the game, and it ain't just Richard Sherman. It's Nate Burleson. It's Hall of Famer like Michael Strahan. It's Troy Aikman. It's Kurt Warner. They want to talk about Trevor so much in a good way, but they just can't do it. These are people that have won championships and Super Bowls, but yet and still we act like they don't know ball. And I hate when people say somebody doesn't know ball just because they disagree with you. I don't look for validation, but it feels kind of decent to be in a line with people that think the way you think, and those people achieve things at the highest level. If they don't get the leadership qualities and the things that leaders are supposed to do from their leaders, who are they going to get it from? I'll tell you right now why that doesn't even make sense, but we'll talk about it anyway here in just a second on Locked On Jaguars.
I'm Cody Rourke from Locked On Broncos, and this episode is brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus powered by Peloton IQ. This is Peloton's most advanced equipment yet, giving you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or you're cross-training with your favorite instructors like Alex Toussaint. It's training reimagined to make your workout more personal. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with features that help you plan, stay motivated, and hit peak performance. You can let yourself run, lift, flex, and go while Peloton handles all the rest. Plus, Peloton IQ provides real-time strength coaching, tracking your progress and suggesting weights that challenge you so you can get stronger. Plus, the new movement tracking camera, it counts your reps and corrects your form in real time, making sure every rep is safer and smarter. So let yourself run, lift, flex, push, and go. Explore the new Peloton cross-training Tread Plus at onepeloton.com.
All right, third and final segment here on Locked On Jaguars. If not the leaders, then who will be the people most responsible from a player standpoint to play beyond the X's and O's and do things? Travis Hunter, when he gets back, Brian Thomas Jr., if he gets back and he gets healthy and he comes out of the slump. That's, you know who that's been? That's been Parker Washington. There's been a dude that was a day 3 pick on a rookie deal. He's been the last couple of weeks, the last couple of times they went out, he has been the dude that's been a difference maker. Travis Etienne, difference maker. In the overtime game against the Raiders, it was the entire offensive line because they were run blocking. They couldn't run block to save their life the other day because they were run blocking different kind of people. The number 1 defense in the league. Who's he going to be? Jordan Lewis, the nickel back? What about your free safety, Eric Murray, when he gets back? It should be coming from the people. Ideally, it should be coming from the people that you pay the most money, that you place the highest value on. And too many times, those are the dudes that are coming up short. Your best players have let this team down this year. Brian Thomas Jr. is supposed to be their best player on offense, and he has let this team down this year. All right? Trevor Lawrence. I'm not saying he's been terrible, but Trevor Lawrence has not been what you would hope a franchise quarterback is. He's just a guy. He's as average as the day is long. He's probably 14th or 15th best quarterback in the National Football League until he otherwise proves it. I'm not talking about his raw talent. I'm talking about what you see on the field week after week after week after week. It looks like the coach is a little bit frustrated. I think the coach wishes Trevor was a little bit better than he is, y'all. But it's not his place to say it, but it's our place to come out here and not to start crap, but to at least acknowledge the fact that maybe privately they don't think that he's a certain way. And it kills me when people go, and these are the same folks that want to chop your head off when you talk about Trevor not being what you think he should be. They say simplify things and just run the football and you got to protect him. Well, if you're telling me to do that, then that means he's not the dude you think he is. And I know I'm getting animated, but it's almost like people do not understand how you are hustling backwards when you say when you say those two things, how crazy you sound. Take something off his plate. Simplify it. I just don't understand how we don't get that that's an oxymoron. I really don't. And it's not an indictment. It is the truth. It's not a truth with a cap on it. It's truth until it's otherwise proven. Like Josh Allen when he first came into the league, the quarterback in Buffalo. He was just a talented dude who couldn't put it together until he did put it together, and then we gave him credit for putting it together. Doesn't mean it won't ever happen. It just means it's not what it is right now. It's not what you think it is right this minute. The consistency isn't there. It doesn't mean he doesn't do it sometimes. It just means he doesn't do it enough. When you get paid a lot of money, you get paid a lot of money because you're good, and you're good a whole lot more than you are bad. And more than likely, the outcome is you're going to play at an extremely high level. Same thing for Hines Allen. I don't know what to tell you if you can't draw a correlation between resources used and expected impact. Impact that has to happen regardless of what is going on around him. I know this is a little bit of an outlier, but I keep telling people, Drake May had a game against Cleveland where he had a perfect 158.3 passer rating. He was also sacked 5 times by the dude that's going to probably be the defensive player of the year and would probably be the MVP if his team was better in Myles Garrett. 2 things can be true at once. You can slice them up because they're a bad team, and the one dude on that team that ain't got no bad in him whatsoever can sack you 5 times and prove that he is as good as he's supposed to be. And they double him and everything else, and everybody knows it's coming, and you still can't stop it. And I know, well, Josh isn't Myles Garrett, and there is no other Myles Garrett. But the point is great players play great even when everything is stacked against them, because that's what makes them great. And Josh doesn't even do that when he's not doubled, when things aren't stacked against him. It's like we call on offense the Trevor Lawrence experience. It's a whole nickname for this whole thing that we do. The experience, the fact that we call it that, even the fans call it that, tells you that there's a roller coaster up and down nature. And having a roller coaster up and down nature as a quote unquote franchise quarterback is hustling backwards. It's the same thing that we're talking about with Trevor. You just can't have that roller coaster if you are a franchise quarterback. That's a problem. That in itself is the problem. So, yeah, I don't get it. I tried to be nice about it and say it's everybody. If you think it's the offensive line, if you think it's the receivers, the drops, everybody, that was a collective effort in the fourth quarter against Houston where everything went wrong. And whoever you thought was the biggest problem or however you prioritize it, I didn't disagree with you. But come on, man, you can't be coming out here defending this foolishness with those 2 dudes. They're the leaders of this team, and they need to be playing better, and that's the bottom line. We don't play around here. They got another game this week. So we got a Thursday crossover coming up with the Chargers this week. You'll see that Thursday. Tomorrow we'll continue to examine and listen to the words from the coaching staff and the things that they have to say to see what the Jaguars have to do to make sure that they regroup and at least try to get to win number 6 this weekend against the Los Angeles Chargers. Also, check me out on Locked On NFL twice a day. Tyler Rowland and I break it down, him in the morning and me in the afternoon in the barbershop, and we give it to you like you can't get it nowhere else because we use the local experts like me, but we use them from around the National Football League because they have the pulse of the team at the tip of their finger, because we're the #1 sports podcast network, and that's what we do here on Locked On Jaguars each and every day. We don't take it for granted. Thank you for spending 28 minutes and 25 seconds with me. We appreciate it. We'll see you next time.